Alright, for this film theory, we're going to be looking at Hitchcock's Vertigo. It's my theory that in Vertigo, Hitchcock uses one rule to define not only the narrative of the film, but his main character and how he relates to the other characters. Now, if you haven't seen the film, this may be a very complicated video, but I'll just say this: so was the movie. We're often in the dark as to who's telling the truth and who's lying to who. But if you pay attention, you'll see Hitchcock never lies to us. He's been telling us from the beginning that Scotty is in over his head, that he's being duped, that chasing a lie. The rule Hitchcock adheres to is this: left to right is a natural order. We read that way, and so our eyes naturally want to move with the camera that way. In Vertigo, moving left to right means telling the truth. Right to left, and you're telling a lie. Often we see characters balancing in the center, unable to distinguish whether they're being truthful or deceiving one another. Now, this is a theory, but after watching the film again recently, I've found plenty of moments to help back me up. Obvious moments, like Hitchcock's own cameo. As we can see, he moves from left to right, just before crossing paths with our main character, Scotty, who's moving right to left. He even goes so far as explaining the rule through dialogue. It's the first time we see Scotty on the left side of the frame, and he's near blatantly telling audiences how to navigate the rest of the film.
Wow.
Well, I have a theory. I think if I can get used to heights just a little bit at a time, just a little like that, progressively, you see, I'll show you what I mean.
So there it is, Scotty's natural order, left to right. But let's start at the beginning and see what happens when you go against the natural order. The first shot is at the last rung in a ladder. We see two fists come up, right, then left. At first glance, we're told something is wrong. The chase continues across rooftops, moving from right to left, with Stewart's character following behind. Immediately, we see Scotty afflicted with his disability. He's hanging off the edge of a high roof and cannot focus enough to save himself. A fellow police officer falls to his death, trying to save him, stacking guilt on top of Scotty's fear. But what does this all mean in terms of framing? We see three different men on a race for the left. The youngest, most athletic, is ahead and winning. Next is the older but able-bodied cop chasing his criminal. Then we meet our hero. He drags behind, does not fit the mold of cops versus robbers, and has a problem making the last jump. Up and to the left. Visually speaking, he's chasing a lie, something unattainable. It is not Scotty's destiny or even his job to follow a criminal across rooftops. Hitchcock is telling us that our character is not only in the wrong place at the wrong time, but that he doesn't realize it yet. From this scene on, Scotty is seen on the right side of the frame. He's cosmologically stuck on this side of the frame because he won't accept the possibility of failure, that he hasn't achieved his destiny, or that he may never will, or that his dream is even wrong in the first place.
She was a bright young lawyer that decided he was going to be chief of police someday.
Our first female role, Midge, is introduced on the left side of the frame. Not only is she a former love interest,
Oh, Johnny-O.
she's also an artist, which will come to play an important role in the concepts of fiction presented later. Midge is the voice of reason. She's on the left because left to right means telling the truth. However, Scotty can't accept that yet. He's seen pointing his new cane at the center of the frame, attacking the left, attacking Midge, while the two of them argue over what he'll do with the rest of his life. Scotty's frustrated, but he hasn't accepted the fact that he could be wrong yet, that his life of chasing criminals may be over forever. At one point, Scotty points to a brazier on the left-hand side of the frame where Midge is blocked. He asks about the design, and Midge answers that it's based off the physics of the cantilever bridge, known for having support on only one side of its structure. And if you say it fast enough, it sounds like she's saying the can't leave her bridge.
Works on the principle of the cantilever bridge.
Does?
Which directly foreshadows Scotty's inability to forget about Madeline later in the film. Notice how he points down and to the left? The next important scene has Scotty talking to what will prove to be the man who deceives him. An old friend asks Scotty to do a favor.
I want you to follow my wife. No, it's not that. We're very happily...
Sounds simple enough until he mentions,
I'm afraid some harm may come to her.
From whom?
Someone dead.
for almost the entire scene, Scotty is placed on the left side of the frame. He's only been here once before, but it looks comfortable for him. He's lost his cane, he's confident again, he should be ready for a new journey. A real journey from left to right.
Well, I guess that just about covers everything, doesn't it?
Though his potential is quickly interrupted by his friend's request.
I'm supposed to be retired. I don't want to get mixed up in this darn thing. Look.
If you watch this scene again, you'll see that as soon as Scotty agrees to his friend's request, he's placed on the opposite end of the frame. More hints are given here as Scotty's pleading friend is consistently placed in front of the many paintings on the wall behind him. The room is full of different pictures and paintings, art and fantasy. Hitchcock frames him purposely this way because he's trying to tell us that this man is lying. This man is slowly building a fictional frame around himself and his lies in order to eventually frame Scotty. For a majority of the film, Scotty is seen following Madeline. She's consistently on the left side of the frame as Scotty is always on the right side and watching her. From this point on, Scotty is on his wayward journey of right to left. The moments in which he's reversed to being on the left side and Madeline on the right are the moments of real truth. These are the moments when we can infer that Scotty is falling in love with her, and she with him.
Here, I'll get some more coffee.
This is when the real tragedy begins. Scotty will always be chasing the fictional version of Madeline. Even up the stairs, when she supposedly falls to her death, they move, up and to the left. He falls in love with the fictional Madeline, chases her love, receives it,
It wasn't supposed to happen this way. It shouldn't have happened.
and then loses her because of his own weakness. At this point, it should be the hardest lesson for him. As we can see, he's put back on the left, but only when he's at the bottom of the frame. Scotty is scared to try anything again. He's scared of the real journey ahead, the one of not chasing his dreams, the one of left to right.
Boy, I need this.
We see his former lover, Midge, the one who pines for him, watching from the right side, waiting for him to finally chase her. She wallows down the right side of the hall inside the institution he's been placed. Hitchcock separates the narrative with a pan of the city moving left to right. He's telling us that Scotty is ready again, or at least he's given one more chance and we're supposed to root for him once more. Though he's still stuck on the right, caught chasing a lie. The way he sees it, there's only one way for him. It is obvious as a one-way sign pointing left. You can even see the camera, motivated by the ghost of Madeline, attempting to bring him back to the right side of the frame. Though we're given the few moments of Scotty journeying correctly left to right, he's usually stopped when the image of his lost lover is caught on the left side. When Scotty finally finds the real Madeline, he's constantly trying to put her back on the left side of the frame. He's desperate to find his Madeline again and chase her love once more. Throughout these painful moments of watching Scotty change Judy into Madeline, he's always forcing her into left of the frame.
Anything. I want to get out of here.
Judy, do this for me.
Here we are.
And it's only in the moments of true love from Judy that we see her rest in the right side.
Will you love me?
Yes.
Like when she first agrees to meet Scotty again on a date, she answers him from the right side of the frame.
Okay.
All right, I'll get my car. I'll be back for you in half an hour.
Following that moment is a realization for the audience as to who the true players are. Judy stares straight into the camera, and from her left, we're given the memory of what really happened. There are moments of truth when she writes her letter to Scotty. She holds Madeline's dress while she balances between right and left. She sits down to write the truth that sits on the right side of the frame. However, throughout her inner dialogue, the camera spins, leaving her in the center, and we're left to wonder what path she'll choose next. Even the photos of Judy's family are there to aid the story. She holds up one photo of her father next to a separate photo of her mother and her sister. Visually speaking, it's one man chasing two women. It's Scotty chasing Madeline and Judy.
Here, Judy, drink this straight down, just like medicine.
Why are you doing this? What good will it do?
I don't know.
When Scotty finally has Judy completely dolled up to be Madeline again, they share the most passionate kiss in the film, He kisses from right to left. Then the camera spins and Scotty remembers their kiss in the stables. He remembers their true love kiss, and he's back on the left with her on the right.
Hello, my love.
Scotty is back on the left, happy again. However, as an audience, we know something is wrong, and we're waiting for the reveal. Once Scotty steps back into the right side of the frame, we see it. We expected it.
Ready. All I've got to do is find my lipstick. Where do I put it? I had it a minute ago.
Now this might be an aside, but watch the scene where Scotty drives Judy back to the fateful tower where her doppelganger once fell to her death. Notice the side of the road they're driving on? It's wrong, isn't it? But Scotty doesn't seem to care. Audiences may or may not notice it, but Judy definitely does. It's her realization that Scotty is determined to be back on the left. He's driving toward truth.
Where are you going?
And he's taking her with him. Now this is one of my favorite moments. When they get to the tower, Scotty pulls Judy out of the car. In one moment, she's on his right, pleading for him to stop. Stop chasing the unattainable. Chase the real me. He grabs her tight, and in one line,
I need you to be Madeline for a while.
he forces her back into the left. He's dragging her up the tower, always forcing her on his left.
Let me go!
How we're going up the tower, Madeline?
You can't, you're afraid!
Now we'll see.
The few moments we see him left to right again, he's only yelling at Judy, screaming at her, shouting out the truth and blaming her for what she's done to him. It's nothing like we've ever seen Scotty act before. Even Judy knows this, as we can see her hugging the wall to her right, desperately trying to escape the fiction that Scotty's forced her back into. Her line is even timed perfectly to be delivered, just as she crosses center frame.
You love me now. Keep me safe.
We may never know if she jumped or fell. And since we've been with Scotty the entire film, we know what Scotty believes. See how the camera continues to move until he's on the right side? It means he's guilty, at least in his own eyes. He thinks he's responsible, yet again, for another death.